Hello friends, I'm going to do a video today. I want to give you a quick history, a background on me. 32 years ago in high school, I had a project. I had to do a report, and my report was on hypnosis. Over the past 32 years, I've continued to study and read, but only a few years ago did it really sink in, and did I awaken to how big this really is. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I've got a very short time because I'm going to show a clip here after I explain a few things. Then I'm going to show you a clip. If I can't get all the clip in, I'm going to try and put a link in so you can go look at the clip yourself and try and get a better understanding. So what I want to do today is I want to start out with the word gnosis. Gnosis is a knowledge of spiritual matters. It is an intuitive apprehension of spiritual truths. Now, in some of the things that I've shared and tried to teach, intuitive is the sixth sense. The intuition is how the spirit talks to you, and how it's the inner knowing. Okay? So again, gnosis, and it's pronounced gnosis, forget the G, but that's just the way they do it. A knowledge of spiritual matters. An intuitive apprehension, which is an understanding, of spiritual truths. So now we're going to look at the word hypnosis. Hypnosis is the induction of a state of consciousness in which a person apparently loses the power of voluntary action and is highly responsive to suggestions or direction. It's sort of the idea of giving up of your free will. You're no longer in control of your own free will. Now, I'm going to show, in my studies, what I had learned was in governments and military and coups and, all these insanities in the world, there is a highly effective hypnosis, which is, also we know it as brainwashing. Brainwashing is when you can make someone adopt radically different beliefs by using systematic and often forcible pressure. Okay? One of the best ways to do brainwashing is by diet. You deny protein in the diet and you increase carbs and sugars. Well, about a year ago, I was at a grocery store one day, and I was in the parking lot waiting on someone, and a lady walked out, and she didn't look like, maybe she had a lot of money, and, things were tight, and coming out the door, she only had 2 items in her hands. And the items were 2 of the largest jugs I've ever seen of what I would call a fruit punch or some kind of a fruit juice, but it was not like fruit juice. It was a sugared drink. And just what struck me was wow, this was this woman's entire week of nutrients and nourishment. Well, it struck me, oh, wow, look at the diet of everyone in America. It's nothing but carbs. It's candies, it's sugars, it's cookies, it's fast food. All of these things are high carb, low protein. And what happens is in the body, when you deny it the protein and you increase these carbs, the sugars, it almost dries the brain out, and the brain cannot think clearly or function properly. So what happens is the person sort of becomes zombie complacent. Add the fluoride in on top. And what happens is now they pretty much kind of do whatever you tell them to do. You say get in line, they get in line. You tell them to sit down, they sit down. You tell them to give you the money, they give you their money. So I'm just pointing out that the TV, newspapers, radio, the diet is all a form of hypnosis. I would highly recommend turning the TV off, turning the radio off, not reading the newspapers and such. And then I'm going to put this video in, so I do hope you watch it to the end. Sorry, the quality of video is not so good, but primarily listen to what is being said.
Is very, very important. It was timed to be so many cycles per second, and it actually just meets with the brain patterns for an alpha state. When our brain sees it through our eyes, we start to adopt that flicker rate in our mind, and we go into a deep alpha state. Watch children and watch their mouths. They drop open. They won't hear their parents talking. They're hypnotized, in fact. Why would they give that particular flicker rate when they could have chosen of a whole variety of flicker rates? It wasn't an essential thing to have. So it was done for a purpose. It was meant to be hypnotic. It was meant to be used as a tool of propaganda and indoctrination, even through the guise of entertainment and so on. It also was to create a new society because they were the avant-garde, as I say, leading the sexual revolution through drama, through little documentaries, fiction, non-fiction, all combines. Once again, back to Plato. The audience see what they see. You understand that it's even worked out towards different age groups. There's something on for everybody's age group. Each age group is actually being updated as well, even the elderly ones, into new ways of thinking or seeing things. But the target mainly was for youngsters. If we take one of the world's experts on propaganda, who was Jacques Ellul, who wrote extensively on how the mind works, and how all entertainment, he said, that has to do with government programs such as police, detective stories, detective series, which contain little human dramas as the hook that you identify with, to make you watch the whole story. The child gets kidnapped, detective goes on a hunt, he goes through hell and fire to get that child back. You identify with the hero if you're a male. You identify with the heroine if you're female. And that's the hook to get you to watch them. But what he said was, all dramas to do with police, or even the military in movies, are pure propaganda. Pure propaganda. The human story is just the bait to make you watch through it, to get you to identify with it. Because once again, there's always a message left somewhere in the movie. It might even be a message that's against your own morality. It could be where the cop, for instance, does sleep with this beautiful woman while his wife was at home, and it's all part of the story, and even tell you why he did this. He was feeling down that day, blah, blah, blah. And so you've just again altered your viewpoints on how you yourself might behave in that situation. And it's sometimes that kind of thing can be justified. That's how you're downloaded through entertainment. It's there to alter and direct and always upgrade into another step of the direction, but the entire culture for someone else's purpose. Let's talk about the effects of the alpha state first of all. Recent articles I've even read on the air from various science studies show you that even when you switch off television, you remain in that alpha state for maybe 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes longer, depending how long you've been watching it. With high definition, again, why would a president of a country mandate that all TVs have to go high definition? Is it because he really cares so much about your happiness? and he wants better quality for you. Or is there another reason for it? Well, I'm sure the effects of the old flicker rates and what it did will also be incorporated in high definition, but with even more added benefits for bringing you into a complete hypnotic state. How do you wake someone up who's addicted to television? You can't. Very, very simple. You can't get your daily brainwashing where literally it's bypassing any consciousness in the person. You can't take that every day and still try to wake up and learn at the same time. I've known people who've gone through complete withdrawal from television and gone into depressions because their entire routine is broken. They also have time on their hands, which is a big aspect of control, remember, too. If you can take time away from a person who can think for themselves, who might say, oh, I'll go and read a book, I'll go and study something, or if you can take that time away from them and have them mesmerized in front of a television set, then you'll keep them dumb, stupid, compliant, and going along with the system. I always advise to people, if you know someone who's watching TV, it's quite simple to find out where they are mentally, psychologically, in the understanding of things. You can ask them a few simple questions. If they give you standard television answers, forget it. Simple as that, forget it. If you see some spark of their own opinion coming in, there's maybe a chance you can do something with them. But you cannot get a... You see, television, it can be classified as a drug.
People think that hypnosis is some mysterious, esoteric thing, and it's not. It's just simply a mental transaction in which a person has focused their attention, they've stopped being critical, and they're more open to suggestion. If someone is looking for people to hypnotize, they know that 85 out of 100 are going to be able to go into some level of trance.
Hypnosis is a natural way of inducing a trance-like state, and we all have the ability to enter into trance.
At many times during every day of our life, we slip into trance-like states where we become absorbed in watching the television.
The first order of business for a propagandist or an advertiser is to create the circumstances that will induce a state of mind that is favorable to the reception of their message. And that state of mind is the hypnotic state of mind, making television extremely important in this whole process of creating a unified mindset among the entire population. Have you ever bought something and then later on wondered why did you buy it? Well, that's a common everyday illustration of being triggered to make a purchase based on a conditioned response that has been built into us to have a preference for a particular product. That is the whole point of programming, whether it be by an advertiser or a propagandist. There's really no difference between the two. One's selling products, the other is selling ideas. The whole point is to build into us a conditioned response where we will respond automatically without thinking, with a preference for a particular idea or preference for a particular product.
So we're going to see it getting faster and faster until humanity wakes up and starts to decide he wants to take a different course. Because if it doesn't, if we sit on our backsides and watch the latest soap and watch the news and believe what we're told, if we go on in that dream world, then we are going to live in a world envisaged and described by Orwell, basically, within 10 years. And I'm probably being optimistic.